6 suspects arrested over an abduction using a defender belonging to Hirunika Premachandra, remanded until the 4th of January.
Prison sentence instead of an execution for Sri Lankan maid in Saudi Arabia. A statement from the acting Minister of Foreign Affairs. Southeastern University will not be relocated. A statement from the subject minister.
Rescue operation lasts for hours to safely bring down a student who fainted atop a tree.
South Asian Football Federation Championship commences with Sri Lanka and Nepal playing in the curtain raiser.
Hello and welcome. This is your primetime news bulletin coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo on NTV and Shakti TV. Good evening, I am Shahin Jurampati.
A very good evening, I'm Mahina Bongzo. We start off with a look at your local news for tonight.
President Maithripala Sirisena presided over a special meeting at the Presidential Palace over Christmas celebrations.
Yesterday's meeting, organised by the President's office, was attended by a group including His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, the Archbishop of Colombo. At this meeting, the Archbishop of Colombo had said that he, together with the Catholic community, would completely support the President's initiative to bring about peace and reconciliation in the country. The Archbishop had emphasised that during this Christmas season, all must join hands together, casting aside all differences. Carols were performed by school students and also saw the participation of renowned artists.
Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Harsha De Silva, speaking to reporters today, announced that the Sri Lankan housemaid who was sentenced to be stoned to death will serve a reduced sentence.
So essentially what we are saying is the appeal against the verdict of the Sri Lankan domestic worker arrested on charges of adultery and sentenced to death by stoning by Al Dwadmi court in Saudi Arabia was taken up on appeal yesterday. So the government of Sri Lanka is very happy to announce that the appeal for clemency on the sentence was successful, and the Sri Lankan national will now have to serve a reduced sentence and serve a term in prison.
We are happy that the news has reached us that this woman migrant is to be imprisoned and not to be beheaded. We must know that this higher responsibility to keep this woman alive and to bring her back to Sri Lanka. We should not relax. The authorities, including the Minister for Migrant Affairs and the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau officials, must visit her regularly and get reports and try to bring her back to Sri Lanka as soon as possible. This is a good lesson for the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau and the Ministry to take steps immediately to ensure the protection of all migrant workers who are living abroad. I am very unhappy that immediate steps have not been taken by all governments, including this government, to sign bilateral agreements and to ensure the labor rights and human rights of migrant workers. And if Sri Lanka is going to earn more money, there is a responsibility thrust on Sri Lankan authorities to provide this protection to migrant workers.
A media briefing was convened at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters in Colombo today.
What they say now is different to what they said in the past. When it comes to the change in the electoral system, most parties agree 100%. We can agree as to whether the change in the electoral system will also be done with a constitutional amendment or creating a new constitution. We need to discuss as to whether the electoral system will be changed and then the forming of a constitution will be done. The SLFP is of the view that the change in the electoral system cannot be delayed. We know that those who have committed wrongs must be punished. Legal action must be taken against them. There is no debate on this. However, the manner in which action is taken must be approved by the courts and the people.
Convening a media briefing in Colombo today, a group of opposition parliamentarians of the UPFA expressed views on topics related to the construction of a bridge supposedly linking India and Sri Lanka and the role of the finance minister.
Indian ministers who are accountable to that country's parliament have informed their house that they are studying the possibility of the construction of a bridge linking Sri Lanka and India. But our ministers come to our parliament and say that there is no talk of such a bridge. There is a professor on economics called Razin Sali from Singapore who is in the country now. He has made a couple of speeches during his stay here, and he says that the current Minister of Finance is not suitable for that job. Why aren't they giving this position to people like Iran Vikramaratne or Harsha De Silva? They are the ones who are qualified for this position. The Prime Minister could have appointed either one of them to this position. The Prime Minister always has good answers to our questions about changing the country's economy, but his working methods do not suit them. He made a big statement in Parliament, but when you look at the budget, they do not tally. So this is why even a capitalist economist sees that what this government is doing is a lie. Who are the persons who come to the country upon an invitation? If it were rogues who came to the country under our government, then those who come to the country now are major thieves. During the election, our Prime Minister said with pride that the Volkswagen company would be brought to Sri Lanka. While the entire world is calling them rogues, this government is praising them and trying to bring the Volkswagen company here.
Minister of University Education Lakshman Kiriyala says that measures are being taken to provide solutions to the issues of students of the engineering faculty of the Southeastern University, but added that the faculty will not be relocated. However, the faculty, students and parents staged a demonstration today as well, demanding solutions to their issues. The students demonstrated opposite the University Grants Commission, alleging that they are facing numerous practical issues, including the dearth of lecturers and the insufficient amount of facilities for academic activities. As the university is located in a rural area, students charge that lecturers do not attend classes at the university for lectures.
It is the opinion of the students and parents that the faculty be relocated to an area with suitable conditions where engineers could be created and lecturers can attend classes.
Amidst the students' demonstration, a media briefing was convened in Colombo under the auspices of the Minister of University Education.
Honestly speaking, we have given everything they need. When these students had marched to the University Grants Commission and protested, they had asked its chairman one thing and one thing only: whether this faculty will be closed or not. We said to them, no, it will not be closed.
Students and parents who were engaging in the protest had held a discussion with State Minister of Education Mohanlal Grero this evening. The meeting was called to inform the students of the subject minister's decision on the matter.
The government has taken a decision with regards to your issue. This decision was not one which I took myself. We take on the responsibility of involving more teachers and carry on its functions the way it is. These courses will be carried out properly accordingly. We admit that there were shortcomings up till now. We have no way of closing this engineering faculty down, nor is there a possibility of relocating it. We cannot establish another location at this point of time which can accommodate the same facilities required. Therefore, we had promised the lecturers of this faculty at the university to pay them an extra 150,000 rupees monthly. Relocating this faculty is something which cannot be done. This is the government's decision.
On the 9th, you came and gave us 3 solutions. One was to split this, which will by default close down the faculty. Second was that it will be relocated. So both these solutions are that the faculty will be relocated. So why are you saying this now?
We take responsibility in functioning these laboratories properly, supplying the teachers and completing students' education. What more do you want?
We are simply not in agreement to these solutions. Therefore, we have decided to continue this struggle. We will continue to refrain from attending classes because there aren't enough lecturers for us to continue with our education.
This is not fair at all. I invite all media here to come to Oluville and see how we have provided all facilities. Then we can see who is right and who is wrong.
In your developing story tonight, the 6 suspects who abducted an individual in a Defender Jeep belonging to parliamentarian Hirunika Premachandra have been remanded until the 4th of January.
Now, the suspects were remanded after they were produced before Colombo magistrate Priyantha Liyanage today.
Among the suspects who are remanded, 5 of them are from MP Hirunika Premachandra's security detail. The 6 suspects are scheduled to be produced for an identification parade on the 4th of January. The magistrate ordered that the defender belonging to MP Hirunika Premachandra, which was seized by the police, be kept under the custody of the Colombo Crimes Division.
They did not think before acting. A wrong had been committed and I accept that. I take responsibility for their actions. I handed them over. They were strictly warned. The law also warned them. A wrong was committed by the other individual as well. He had contact with a woman from a family that was living well and held her forcibly, and police said that he will also be arrested. We are persons who struggled to bring about good governance. I'm a citizen of this country who respects the law of the country.
මම රටේ තවත් එක් පුරවැසියෙක් විදියට රටේ නීතියට තිසනම ආචාර කරනවා.
JVP Propaganda Secretary Vijitha Herath says the benefits of the fall in world crude oil prices should be provided to the people. He made this statement while speaking to reporters in Colombo.
As of yet, the government has not given the benefits of the falling world crude oil prices to the people of the country. During 2 months of this year alone, the price of a barrel of crude oil was $51. Today it has fallen to $36.38 per barrel. Even if the government imposes port tax, production fees, custom tax, operations tax, a litre of diesel fuel can be given for 79 rupees. However, the government sells a litre of diesel fuel for 95 rupees. The issue is that it is not only government institutes that bring fuel to the country. IOC imports 20 million litres of diesel fuel to the country per month. This causes a major loss to the Sri Lankan economy. It was said that a formula will be presented to decide on the price of fuel. That has not been done as yet. The government slashed the fertilizer subsidy of the farmers. The paddy prices were brought down. In this backdrop, Minister Ravi Karunayaka says that paddy cultivation will be removed from the country. This shows where this government is heading to. They are deceiving the people. We must remind that the agrarian community is prepared to turn this around.
Minister Rishad Bathiuddin made a strong statement today, citing that he would step down from politics if allegations of his involvement in the destruction of the Vilpattu National Park are proven.
The minister made the statement as a response to claims made by the General Secretary of the National Sangha Council, Venerable Pahiyangala Ananda Sagara Thero.
It was said that I, together with my community, have destroyed the Vilpattu National Park and the Muslims were settled in Vilpattu, and that I am engaged in a drug trade. I counter the challenge made by the Venerable Thero. It is true that if you tell the people that you speak for the country, you are not an extremist. If there is not a conspiracy behind this, please step forward. Come forward on any channel. We will openly debate this. And if you can prove that I settled a single Muslim family in Vilpattu, I will step down from politics.
Citing charges of defamation, Minister Rishad Bathiuddin had lodged a complaint with the police, following which General Secretary of the National Sangha Council, Venerable Pahiyangal Ananda Thero, arrived at the Cinnamon Gardens police to provide a statement yesterday. He noted that the minister must fulfill 3 conditions.
Stop the destruction caused to the Vilpattu forest. We also commented on the drug trade by him and his associates. It needs to be stopped. A number of incidents that affect national security are taking place in Vilpattu. There needs to be intervention in this.
The Department of Wildlife and the police have failed to implement the order issued by the Court of Appeal to ensure that the Wattamadu pastures be utilized for the nourishment of dairy cows in the Ampara district, a process that took place continuously for over 35 years ago until it was obstructed in 2010. Last Friday, the Court of Appeal, taking into consideration appeal filed by a group of persons who engaged in illegal paddy cultivation in the area since 2010, after chasing away the dairy farmers, instructed that the paddy farmers immediately evacuate the Wattamadu pastures and allow dairy farmers to use the area to nourish their cattle. Action TV, which visited the area on Monday in order to witness whether the Department of Wildlife and the police have acted on the court instructions, noticed that the farmers who were engaging in illegal paddy cultivations, constructing an irrigation channel in the Timbirigola Reserve in Bakmitiava to supply water to their cultivations in Wattamadu. Despite the ground reality, the head of the Kalmune Wildlife Range, to which the Timbirigola Reserve belongs to, has been granted a promotion with effect from yesterday. Incidentally, it was this particular individual who was vested with the responsibility to safeguard the Timbirigola Reserve and the Wattamadu pastures on which farmers were engaged in 4,000 acres of illegal paddy cultivations. Following the Action TV expose on Monday, an officer of the Ampara Wildlife Range arrived at the location yesterday and seized only the equipment used to construct the irrigation channel within the Timbirigola Reserve. A former Eastern Provincial Councillor who actively worked towards protecting the Wattamadu pastures for dairy cows stated that dairy farmers are also being threatened in a backdrop while the court order is not being implemented.
The relevant officers are afraid to exercise the law. There is a hidden force behind the inaction. A solution will not be provided to this problem until this force is eliminated.
In a country where forest conservation laws are not enforced, even when there is a court order to that effect, how could one expect the agreement reached at the Paris Climate Change Summit to be enforced? Secretary to the Ministry of Environment, this is over to you.
Welcome back to the news. Dramatic scenes unfolded in Kapuatta, Dambulla, when a 17-year-old schoolboy who fainted atop a king coconut tree was rescued and lowered to the ground in an operation that lasted for hours.
Now, the fire brigade of the Dambulla Municipal Council made a valiant effort to lower the boy down unscathed.
The schoolboy had climbed onto the king coconut tree without heeding the warning given by his father not to do so. While atop the tree, he fainted, and the leaves of the trees prevented him from crashing onto the ground. However, it took many hours for the villagers and rescuers assisted by the Dambulla police to safely bring him down. A correspondent who was at the location said that the rescue operation lasted for around 2 long hours. The boy remained unconscious even when he was lowered and was rushed to the Dambulla Base Hospital.
I climbed the tree to pluck some king coconuts. I fainted. I regained consciousness in the hospital.
I told him not to, but he did not listen. He was unconscious up there. The municipal council and the police arrived and they sent a boy with a safety belt up the tree, and 3 or 4 persons worked together to lower him safely to the ground.
It was a sigh of relief for the family and friends, and hospital staff said that the fear of heights may have caused the boy to faint.
Government executive officers and trade unions of bank employees warn that if their demands are not met with positive answers, they would resort to a continuous trade union action.
The Joint Committee on Executive Officers All Island Services, which comprises of 19 trade unions attached to the Government Services of Medicine and Administration, convened a media briefing to elaborate on their future course of action.
Issues that arose through the 2016 budget have not been resolved. 5 letters have been addressed to the President and the Prime Minister, and not a single meeting had been called for with the executives. The process of not discussing the people's issues with the people is called fascism and not democracy. We will not let go of this issue. If solutions are not provided in the coming 2 weeks, we as the professions would commence a continuous trade union action.
The Ceylon Bank Employees Union also convened a media briefing today.
We participated in 2 rounds of discussions with the Prime Minister. 1 or 2 of the 12 matters that we presented were subject to changes. For example, the leasing facility is to be given back to the banks. There was also agreement with regard to charges pertaining to withdrawals. As a whole, many more changes need to be met in order to resolve the issues. We hope that there will be a positive environment by the 15th of January next year. If it does not happen, we will enter into a trade union action.
Well, here's a look at more local news in brief.
The statue of God Saman, the relic casket and jewel splits at the Galpottawala Rajamaviharya in Palmadulla were taken to Sri Pada today in 3 separate Peraharas on 3 different routes. For the first time in history, a new Perahara reached Sri Pada after commencing its journey from the temple and reaching Hatton before reaching the destination. Sri Pada pilgrim season will commence from tomorrow. Puttalam District MP Priyanka Rajaratne assumed duties as the State Minister of Local Government and Provincial Councils today. An event was organised at the ministry to mark the occasion. Former Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Dr. Nalaka Godaheva and 2 others who were arrested in connection with an alleged fraud of 5 million rupees were further remanded until the 4th of January 2016. The suspects were produced before the Colombo Port Magistrate Priyantha Liyanage today. Among the suspects were former Director General of the SEC, Dhammika Manjir Pereira. Mohammed Siddique, who is charged with drug peddling and money laundering, was produced before the Colombo Additional Magistrate Priyantha Liyanage today. Officers from the Criminal Investigations Department sought court permission to investigate the finances of Mohammed Siddique and his wife. As granting permission was in violation of the tax law, the request was rejected and the case was postponed to the 5th of January.
Sri Lanka has slipped to the rank of 97th in the Global Entrepreneurship Index for 2016. The island was previously ranked at the 71st position.
The United States, Canada and Australia lead the index, with Singapore ranked at the 11th position. China, Asia's rising powerhouse, is ranked 60th in the index. The Institute of Policy Studies says Sri Lanka's setbacks in the index indicates barriers to innovation and entrepreneurship despite government efforts to ease the business startup process. While the budget for 2016 allocated 500 million rupees to support small and medium-scale entrepreneurs, it has also brought in additional regulations and processes to start and run a business. Experts say innovation and entrepreneurship are vital components that not only propel economic growth but also make economies competitive and dynamic.
The second day of the Splash Shopping Festival 2015 commenced at the Kandy City Centre this morning.
Newsfirst is the media sponsor of Splash Shopping Festival 2015, and a special feature will be that Santa Claus will make an appearance on Christmas Day to distribute gifts for the little children.
Christmas shoppers who visit Splash 2015 can purchase clothing, electrical appliances and food products at discounted prices. Large crowds flocked to the exhibition today. While the shopping festival boasts over 100 stalls, there is also a special kiddies zone for the enjoyment of the younger ones. Newsfirst is conducting a screen testing centre for children to expose their media talents, and this centre was visited by a large number of children. We have received a great opportunity to become a news presenter. Therefore, we requested all of you who view Sirasa that if you have the opportunity to work as a news presenter, the best place to showcase your talents is Sirasa TV.
In the future, I think Newsfirst is the perfect place for children to develop and showcase their talents.
I got an opportunity here and I came here to utilize it. The shopping festival also features a number of carol services. Popular singer Viraj Pereira performed in the musical extravaganza that is taking place this evening.
In good news for sports fans, Sri Lanka clinched a last-minute goal to win 1-0 against Nepal in the inaugural match of the SAF Championships 2015. The biennial South Asian Football Federation Championships began today at the Trivandrum International Stadium in Kerala.
Well, impressive work from the Lankan footballers. And with that, we wrap up today's edition of Primetime News. I'm Shahin Jurangpati. And
I'm Mahina Bangsu. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
Thank you.